Alrighty. Give this live stream a sec to catch up. Perfect. Well, howdy, folks. Alright, just give me a sec. Give it a sec. There you go. Alright. Day 2 officially begins on the Factorio livestream. So, couple notes regarding my last stream. I imagine some people probably thought I was rambling a bit of nonsense. I know I certainly felt like I was talking a lot of nonsense for a good portion of the video, of the live stream. And part of that is, well, I'll just rattling off a lot of incomplete thoughts, obviously, but I think part of it was just due to the fact that I was kind of tired, I guess. It had been a bit of a... I probably just didn't get enough sleep, I think is what it was. That, and it's my first foray into live streaming, and from previous experiences trying to do like recordings and such, I found that I do struggle a little bit with engaging in gameplay to an extent. Okay, correction. It's not the gameplay I have a struggle with. It's the trying to talk to a camera. Especially when there's no one like to talk back. It's mostly just talking to myself. I find that experience can be a bit of an odd one, I suppose. It certainly feels weird for me. I'm more of a like conversation type person. Like, I usually prefer there to be a back and forth. I'm not exactly big on talking to someone or something that's not going to talk back. So trying to engage with a voiceless camera is a bit on the uncomfortable side. But I figure with enough experience and just enough exposure, maybe I'll get used to it. I know I used to have a holding down a conversation in general was always a bit of a struggle for me in the past. But I've gotten a bit better at it, and that only came because of with practice and exposure. So perhaps if I just treat it like a muscle, the kind you need, the sort of thing you need to exercise to get used to get it functioning properly. But nonetheless, we got gameplay. We got a playthrough to continue on. I'm gonna see how long I can get this. I can go for this live stream. I know I only managed like maybe an hour and a half last live stream. Let's see if I can push that. Cause I'm kind of thinking that at the very least, a 3-hour or so live stream would be a pretty solid baseline. I think, at least. At the very least, it will help me make sure I get stuff moving, and I'm making progress more. Okay, let's see. What we did manage to accomplish at the very least was creating a... How much I got in here? We were able, as I recall in the last video, to get a smelting stack set up for just for iron plates, and with that, I'll be able to get a lot more active production instead of just hand feeding all this stuff down here. We're not quite out of a hand feeding phase just yet, but we're moving along at the very least. Anyway, I'm just gonna grab this stuff, move them up to the smelting stack so I can get production back up. As you can probably see on the map, I am surrounded by biters, and I've got quite a and that pollution cloud is expanding. I'm gonna need take some aggressive measures. Let's see. Let's get myself some. Let's get ammo production back up. That. Alright, got ammo. Let's see. We're also going to want belt production up as well, because, you know, you need belts. The more belts we can get out, we can get going, the better. Here's... Nope, wrong button. There you go. Alright, there we go. Already turning out a decent amount of ammo. And with the ammo I got on hand right now, I could knock out one of these nests. And I honestly probably should. I'm running against the clock here, and there's one thing I don't want to be doing is actively fighting a constant swarm of biters at every turn, so if I can stay ahead of the pollution cloud, knock out nests as needed, then I think it should be good. Thankfully, this one should be easy enough. It's only just a worm and a nest. That easy target. I use these trees as a natural barrier. Alright, there you go. Easy enough. Bought me a bit of time. I'm not the least bit worried about that worm down here. At least not as far as pollution cloud is concerned. But I'm gonna knock it out because I don't like worms. Easy enough. How much time I got on this fish, by the way? Still got like an hour on the fish before the fish spoils, so no need to rush anything. And I already know where the water is, so it's not like I'll be running out of fish anytime soon. Not that it's gonna be a huge issue. I mean, with ammo production up and we got ourselves some turrets now, there's probably not much to worry about in terms of like potential attacks, so things are already looking up. That said, I'm gonna need to get a much better setup as far as production is concerned, because I don't want to be hand feeding constantly. Question is what to do first. I suppose I should get a copper stack up. Okay. Okay. And I might as well also automate power. Speaking of which, I better expand power a bit just so I can, because I'm definitely going to be needing more miners. But these miners eat up power, so. And at this stage in the game, just having a lot of miners, that's going to be the biggest power draw. Okay, get that up there. And then I need a splitter. Go, and there you go. That's some coal. Yep, definitely gonna need to expand power. And I'm honestly probably gonna need more electric miners too. Okay, let's see, let's get that there, that there. And I'm gonna need pipes. Just some finagling here. I do want to burn through this coal before I completely automate the I lost my train of thought there. But I'm gonna run a line down here from the area, just so I don't have to worry about resupply for a while. Where I get some belts though, it's gonna be quite a few belts. Yep, got ammo. All right. There you go. Let's bring this down here. Let's see if I got a long enough belt. I got enough. The belt links can be deceptive. All right. Coal will make its way down eventually. Let's make sure we got inserters to pull off the coal off the belt. And there's power supply automated. Now, onto the copper stack. I think, okay, I got enough belts. I need more inserters is what I need. Alright, put that there. I'm gonna need 2 of these, 1 of these. Okay. It took a bit of an odd hiatus. There's a bit of a hiatus some time ago, and I've been doing a bunch of other random projects, and a lot of and I mentioned in the last stream where I have the nasty habit of just restarting my runs. Something I tend to forget because of how many times I restarted the run about this whole automation bit where you gotta like plan and put together the factory, make sure everything operates and such. A little aspect of the game that I find to be kind of satisfying, honestly. But I restarted so many times, and I legitimately almost kind of forgot about certain parts of the game, including the early game aspect of having to put down, manually assemble your factories in the early game. I've had similar experiences in previous playthroughs where I made it to late game where you unlock the bots and all that, and then you become so used to utilizing bots that you get a little too used to the idea of putting down blueprints and then just having them put together in mere moments without you having to actively put them together yourself. I suppose the classic Factorio experience. Right now what I'm experiencing is I'm definitely missing out on one particular aspect, and that is the lack of certain mods that I've kind of gotten used to using. It's kind of funny going back to the standard way of play, and already you're like missing things like Bob's inserters or the mining patch planner. It's very useful mods that, well, I wouldn't necessarily say I can't go without. It's just they're definitely missed. They're definitely going to be a little inconvenient not having them, especially when I get to Gleba. Initially, I thought to myself, "Oh, I got a pretty solid idea of understanding how Gleba works. I can conquer Gleba easy." And then I tell myself, I have to remind myself that I had mods on when I quote unquote conquered Gleba, and so all the blueprints I have saved are reliant on those mods, so I can't use them in this playthrough. So it's in a sense, kind of like going back to square one. Which gives, I suppose, an exciting prospect in and of itself. I'm mostly just anticipating a lot of headaches, because that's what I get when I play Gleba. Whole lot of headaches. Not because I dislike it. It's just the production chain, the whole all the effort and the know-how to make a functioning production chain on Gleba makes my brain hurt. One of my initial playthroughs, I made the mistake of trying to just use bots the entire way, which is not necessarily a bad way to play on Gleba, but it's hard to control the balance of plans to spoilage when your bots, especially when your bots have multiple logistics, multiple pieces to the logistics chain, and they all have different prioritizations on certain tasks. So there's not exactly a 100% guarantee throughput is going to work exactly as intended, or at the very least, with the way I play Factorio, there's not much of a guarantee, because I'm sure with the right know-how of programming and like circuit logic, you could make sure the you can make an entire bot network function with 100% efficiency. I'm not that person. I mostly just press buttons and hope it works. Type everything. So, but also, but if I'm being frank, part of why getting figuring out how to play on Glebo took me so long, purely because of my lack of drive to do it, because it always seemed so difficult to me. Like the difficulty level made me hesitant, to even try to put the proper brain power in. I basically just did enough to get to produce the certain resources I need, and then moved on to other areas of the game as quickly as possible. Made it all the way to Aquilo before that basically shut down. Basically, that sort of made my that playthrough kind of crash and burn, because I hit a point in the game where I had progressed so far, but had mastered very little of the core aspects of the game. I shot myself in the foot essentially, and I couldn't quite 100% recover that saving. Not that it's like broken or even like unplayable, just hit a point where I couldn't muster the will to keep going in that space. If that makes sense at all. All right. Copper stack is up. We got iron, we got copper, and we got, surprisingly, not too bad of a pollution cloud. I'm thinking with these stacks up, however, the pollution is definitely going to expand, but I guess I'm not entirely sure which one I should be more concerned about. The ones up north? Or the one down southwest? Suppose there's no point in freaking out about it right now. Gotta get to the next step in the production line, which is, might as well just be getting science automated. Although I probably could, I might as well just work on the automation part. Okay, get that. Put it in line. Now I'm probably gonna have to vary my approach here, because I might want to expand iron. I think I should increase iron throughput. Or should I say output? It doesn't matter. Okay. I'm gonna try and shift a bit less in my chair. I did notice when I looked back at the live stream, the last live stream, you could definitely hear me shifting quite a bit. I'm a fidgety person by nature, so it's kind of hard to not just shift around a bit, especially when you get uncomfortable really fast holding the same position. Like, that's just kind of just one of my struggles. not being able to hold still. I mean, I might as well just. Don't know why I wasn't researching this earlier. More bullet damage would be definitely be helpful, especially with the expanding pollution cloud. All right, should get a bit more iron that way. Going forward, I'm definitely gonna need to make sure to get a better idea of what my available resources are, because right now I got this ore patch, and that's only 400k. That ore patch over to the side there, next to that biter, and it looks like a body of water. It's definitely gonna be helpful in the long run, especially if I want to get a main bus all up and running. Of course, I don't really have a whole lot of space for a main bus right now at the moment. Although I'm pretty sure I can make space if necessary. But right now, let's just get the basics up. Okay. I'm thinking I might want to just generally speaking, increase gear production. Not gear production, belt production. I need more belt production is what I need. Which means I'm gonna need more of the long inserters. All right. Put that up here. Okay, got. Okay. Let's see. We need that there, and there. Get this bud right here. And voila. So I came up with this design for the assembly line because I wanted an assembly line that was able to put. I wanted to be able to produce a large amount of a certain item, but also leave space to expand it to increase the amount I have of assemblers if I needed to. I suppose you could say jury's out on whether or not that was actually a necessary step, but it functions, so I use it now. That's what I generally use. This is more for just like mass production, basically. I'm sure there's some flaws. There's some major flaws with it. Some people are willing to point out, but honestly, it's functioned for me thus far, so I don't see any issue with it. Plus, it's simple enough for me to understand and remember how to put together. It's really funny being used to using things like Bob's inserters, because you kind of just don't really need long hand inserters in Bob's mod with the Bob's inserters, so it's really funny to look at using them right now. Always need more poles. And there you go. And there you go. Better belt production. We are definitely going to need it. Which is age, I can take this apart. Ammo's looking good. Pollution still not half bad. Okay, we got that going there, and then now we're going to need, let's do the same basic principle, but instead we're going to automate red signs. Or should we actually, instead of doing that, I'm going to get me some green circuit production. Okay, let's start with like this. And let's go. Let's see. Get that. Do I don't know. It's gonna be a little bit weird. Okay. Let's see, get that there. Well, maybe not. Get that iron down there. How? Okay. This is one of those designs that I did not make myself. I saw someone using it. I saw someone make a video about how this is a good way to, this is probably one of the best ways to make green circuit production. I'm like, okay, that looks insane, but hey, if it works, it works. And yeah, it works. Look at that there. Green circuit production is one of those things that does kind of give me a little bit of a headache, because it's like, as part of me feels like it's unnecessarily convoluted, just getting all the production line together. It is satisfying a little bit when you do get it up and running, but still, the amount of effort it takes is ridiculous, kind of. All right, we got green circuits. How's production doing? How's power? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. I'm gonna need to expand, but just expand power real quick. I did not expect that. I was not expecting that. I'm gonna be real with you. Let's see. I need get this going here. Okay, make sure we got this little stockpile. Make sure we just got iron plates on hand, because we're still gonna have to do some of our own manual handcrafting. Manual handcrafting that's redundant. Anyway, do I have? I did. Oh, I forgot a crucial step. There you go. All right, let's expand power production, because we are not producing nearly it. Oh wait. All right, let's just go expand power and potentially diagnose what the issue may or may not be. I know. Oh no, I forgot to plug them in. Well, that's concerning. Yeah, I'm getting wrecked. That is a lot of biters. All right, that well, that stings. That is a considerable amount of. Man, no, it's so big. I don't even see them. I mean, it came from the north. So I'm guessing there's a biter. There's a biter nest I didn't see. Must have been a biter expansion of some sort. Where was it? Where could it be? And that's a big loss, honestly. Like that, I lost. That's quite a loss there. Do I? It's early in this run. I don't. I don't think this. I. I don't think this. Call me a coward if you want. I don't. That's not a loss. That's not a loss. I'm happy with dealing with. Aha. Here we are. I'll just say message received. I'm gonna need to put up a defensive perimeter earlier than expected. But it's not the end of the world. You know, it's one of those things you just gotta worry about. You gotta deal with. Like I said, everyone's a learning experience. I say learning experience. You think I would have learned this a long time ago, but I tend to forget about the whole biter expansion thing because I'm not 100. Because truth be told, I tend to, how do I put this? I usually use the Railworld preset, and part of the Railworld preset means you get biters don't expand. So when you take out a biter nest and that biter nest is gone, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, we're good. And let's see, got that. You could say that is sort of conditioned me to kind of get, that would make me a tad complacent, given that how it resulted in basically my entire, a good portion of my base getting just absolutely chomped like that, which. So. Let's see, get that there. All right. I'd better. Did I? Oh, yep, I didn't. Okay. What am I missing actually? The funny thing about reloading saves, you forget about the. Oh yeah. I need to fix up my power situation because I forgot to plug in the water pump. I forgot to plug the steam pumps to the steam boiler, the steam engine. Connect the boilers to the steam engines so I can actually produce power. That's what I forgot to do. So I'm sitting there wondering why I'm not getting power, as much power as I should. And even so, I definitely need to. Yeah, I need to expand power production. What else did I lose? All right, and the electronic circuits. That's what I need to get. And I might as well get myself more radar. Wait, what? No. If biter production is already going to be if I'm already going to have to worry about biter expansions at this stage of the game, I'm definitely going to have to just expand my radar range. Because one of the benefits to having a lot of radar is the radar will actively scan portions of the map, including portions of the map that it doesn't cover, strictly speaking. Like these little squares here. These little squares here are the squares that these radars are actively revealing. As long as the radars are active, I can see everything within these squares. But there's a radius out. There's a radius outside the active range, and the radars are essentially going to scan one small square at a time. It helps to expand. It helps to kind of gradually expand. How much of the territory you can see, but also with biter expansions, it should keep me appraised of the locations of any new biter nests that have expanded, especially since they're expanding into my pollution cloud, which is what that disaster was. And the thing about that, though, is they're only going to scan one square at a time. The only way around that is more radars. Because the more radars you got going, the more radars you got scanning areas of the map. The more radars we have scanning the map, the better, the more aware of potential biter attacks I will be, and the more aware I am, the better prepared I'll be able to be. Okay, so there we go, easy peasy. Let's get this one up here. Now. Funny thing about biter priorities is how they won't actively go after things like power poles and radars. They will if I think they're in the way, if like the radars are like blocking them or something like that. I don't know exactly what the conditions are. They will attack just about anything, but primarily when it comes to biters, they'll typically target like major pollution producers. Unless they just decide to go after some target, then just a target that happens to be nearby, which is what I believe the case was with that attack. Like, it wasn't exactly what I would call a major pollution producer. But I suppose it seemed like the best target at the time. Not that I would know. I can't read the minds of biters, and I don't know how they're programmed. All I know is that they freak me out. So. This will get so much easier when I get rockets. But that's like way down the road. Alright. Got that taken care of. That was a small one. Easy target. But my pollution cloud is expanding by the minute. That might be no exaggeration, but it's definitely expanding quite a bit, and maybe more than I can keep up with. So. I do definitely need to figure out which one I should take out next. It's either going to be this one down here or this one up here that I'm going to have to take out next, because those ones are particularly big. I think I can manage biter expansions if they are like the small kind of expansions. Like, we're not talking like huge worm infested stuff. It's more like just, you know, a nest and a couple of biters. Those ones I can manage fairly easily, even if it's just me with a submachine gun, some fish in a dream. I think there was one time in one playthrough where I forgot about the whole biter expansion thing, and I ended up just walking into a part of the map that didn't have any radar coverage, and on the map overlay, it didn't show any biters. So I just walking down, and as I get closer, I suddenly just a whole bunch of just biters come into view. That was a wild moment. All right, there you go. A little coal square, just written right there. And a little stone square. It's weird seeing such small resource nodes. Okay, got that. All right. Radar has been expanded. Now, it should actively expand the amount of territory I can see up here. Kind of like this. Like, this is the little scan area they do. They reveal a certain amount of areas, which means with 6 radars, I got like 6 radars going right now. That should be 6 squares actively being scanned at any given moment. So if they're expanding into these little areas here, I suppose eventually know about them. Eventually. And yeah, I better, because that's what power's looking like right now. I had better expand it pretty quick. Expand electricity. Gotta be mindful of these ore patches. They often run out faster than I anticipate. Okay. Well, we're at a decent place. I'm going to save real quick. And now on to the next thing. I think I should definitely reinforce my defensive perimeter because don't want to be caught unawares again. So let's get gun turrets here. Yeah, I need more. Gonna need to make more of them, so I'm gonna need more iron. Got lots of copper, but I'm gonna need more iron. Well, I'm at it, might as well stockpile of copper. I like how it's how do I put this? I like the Factorio soundtrack. It's very distinct in and of itself. It's got a vibe that I personally cannot describe, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty solid one. And I'm definitely gonna need to shore up defenses around around the powers. That's one of those things that I think biters do not appreciate is boilers, because boilers have produced quite a bit of pollution. I don't 100% know what the biggest polluter is in the game, but boilers are definitely, at least for this stage of the game, boilers definitely give up quite a bit Like that's 30 pollution per. I don't know what the M stands for, but that's quite a bit of pollution. I did not need to delete that inserter. Okay. Better grab some more iron. Well, the next big thing I'm gonna have to worry about will be obviously green science, and I'm definitely gonna need that because that's a lot of really good, really important, really useful stuff is locked behind green science. So definitely should be a priority. What did I come here for? Oh yeah. Get that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, let's go expand power and make sure to plug it in this time. And while I'm at it, might as well set a defensive perimeter for my power grid. I don't want biters eating my power supply. And I can't expand it right now because time is being consumed by handcrafting. Remember, this is an automation game, so you should not expect the need to handcraft to be an overall pleasant experience. If that makes sense at all. You should know by now that I do talk a lot of nonsense, especially when I'm talking to myself. Maybe sometimes you kind of just don't realize how fortunate you are to have individuals in your life who are willing to call you out on when you're being weird or are talking nonsense. For some, it's siblings. For me, it's siblings at least. You know. Plus, I think I'm just the kind of person that needs to bounce someone to bounce off of, verbally speaking. Like, you know, someone to like respond to what I'm saying. Because I can't. I can only keep myself entertained for so long. Talking to myself. You know, it's been long enough that I haven't. Yeah, no, we're good. Okay. What are they doing? I wandered up here for a reason, but I don't recall what that reason was. I think I'm gonna put. Yeah, I'm gonna put. Let's get a redo on electronic circuits production. Because I definitely need that. It is definitely a necessity. Call that the consequences of me chickening out of dealing with the previous consequences. Of course, we call it chickening out, but I don't think that's necessarily a requirement for me to deal with that kind of headache. There you go. Electronic circuits up and running again. Well, half of it at least. I'm the kind of person that likes symmetry with their builds, so. But too far off to the side. And I did it wrong because I'm an idiot. There you go. Get that settled. Gotta put this up here. Okay, now we got electronic circuits up and running once again. And with that, I might as well just go right into getting green signs up and running too, because I'm definitely going to need that. And conveniently speaking, well, yeah, I definitely need to get red signs and green signs because I need both for proper operations. So let's start with the red signs at least. Even for that, I'm going to need lots of assemblers. And while that's handcrafting, I'm going to expand power because with all the assemblers I'm going to be throwing up, it's going to need it. All right, more power, quite a bit of power actually, and we've got a decent number of assemblers already. All right, I'm gonna let ammo production build up a little bit, and then I'll expand the defensive perimeter. But I think I got a decent enough on some of the major portions. Obviously, if any of them try to nipple at my defenses here and there, I'm going to have to deal with them personally. But gun turrets are pretty solid. Gun turrets are pretty solid any day of the week, so I think I should be good for the time being. Let's see. Let's just get gear production up. Look at that there. There you go. Let's see. This is one of those aspects of the game that can get kind of tedious, the having to put things manually. Thankfully, I'm the kind of person that does a lot of utilizes a lot of, shall we say, simplistic designs. Mostly because I'm a simple-minded individual, so I usually make things as simple as possible because I don't need the headache. Not that I'm incapable of more complicated designs, it just takes more brain power, and sometimes I just don't feel like sparing the brain power for it. I remember one time, and this part goes into one of the many headaches I've had to deal with, was when I spent several hours on Gleba planning the factory before even building the actual factory because I wanted to make sure I got it right the first time without messing up the whole spoilage chain and all that. I knew I had to figure out how to figure out something to do about the spoilage, and that was like my biggest concern was making a functioning factory that accounted for the issue with spoilage, which will obviously so I planned out the whole thing pretty much like right there, and then debugged, and then only did like a bit of debugging once the factory kicked into gear. I'm not very smart. Okay. Get that going. Get everything properly set up. Given that I don't have nearly as many resources running in right at the moment with the patch size that we got currently, I'm not going to go for an exceptionally large production line just yet. It will definitely become necessary down the road, though. Okay. Alright, there's red science. Easy enough. Okay. Not really gonna be plugging that into the production line just yet. So the science lines just yet, since I don't really have much. Not gonna be able to make use of it until I get green science off the ground. So that'll be my next project. So let's get that going. I'm gonna double check odd by. How is science looking over here? That is probably enough for just to finish weapon shooting speed. Oh darn. Pardon my French. That was the wrong button. I'm definitely gonna need to research green science before I finish up with that ammo shooting speed, because actually, you know, might as well just get a setup for the lab right now. Okay. It'll be rudimentary, but as long as it's functional. Alright, there's a lab. Now, on to the green science. I already got belt production up and running, honestly, so I just need the insert production. Which thankfully should be hilariously easy, considering I've already got gear. Since all I need is to get gears up and running. I did it again. One little thing I would say is probably the weakest aspect of my playthroughs for any game, for a lot of Factorio especially, but well, mainly for Factorio. But I'd say one of my biggest weaknesses is the inability to future proof properly. Like, I honestly have a hard time thinking far enough ahead to where I can anticipate potential like design to potential like roadblocks and everything. I take things as I see them. Like, I can see all this and I can understand where it's going just fine. But then there's always the issue of me potentially running into of me making this some major mistake that like majorly hinders the production line, and my fish spoiled. It's not terrible. Sorry, bit of a non-sequitur there. Basically, I don't plan as far ahead as I should when I'm building designs, and I often hit a wall really fast. I do try to avoid hitting those walls, but I've never been particularly good at that sort of thing. I still try though. Let's get this. Gonna knock these ones out here, and I'm gonna redirect the belt line. Let's get this figured out first before I do that. Do I have? Okay, here you go. Oop. And then I just need green circuits up here. I need more long inserters. Got a handcraft. All right. I should be able to bring it down here. All right, let's bring the belt down. Should be straightforward enough. All right. And thus begins the spaghetti. Mind you, I'm always pulling spaghetti. I'm always doing the spaghetti mayhem thing. I don't think I've ever been able to fully avoid going full spaghetti. Not that I think I really need to anyway. Yeah, honestly. I'm gonna have to pull some shenanigans here just because of I can't pull shenanigans. Well, I can, but there we go. Okay, got that set up. Let's get the science. Great part about this game is the ways in which it forces you to focus on very basic, very essential, and very basic design builds, or like how it encourages you to get certain productions up and running at certain points in the game. One example of which is making the green science pack require belts and inserters, like the two most basic logistical, the two most basic logistical machines. I don't know why I was struggling with the word there. That was not quite the word I was looking for, but it's what I got. But the two main functions of an automation is a basic factory automation and logistics, and you need both to build a certain science pack. I think it's just smart play by Woob, which is the people that made it. All right, I think that's about as much as my one iron smelting stack can handle now. All right, we still don't have any biters in my pollution cloud, so we're still technically safe. However, and honestly, pollution has not been expanding as aggressive as it was before. I think it's expanding further north than before. Which means I'm probably going to have to deal with these biter nests up here, particularly that one, because that pollution cloud is nearly on top of it. Alright, so I'm going to go grab the other science lab, the rest of that. Alright, we're moving. Onward and upward. Let's get more science labs. Increase our science production. Correction, not production, usage. Increase our science usage. Alright. Not the most optimal setup, but it's functional. And with that, what are we gonna produce? Research first. I think let's get better furnaces, assemblers. Actually, you know what? I do want to push towards trains, so let's get that and engines, and then let's see, furnace, assembler, that, and then let's get solar. All right, that should be able to turn away, and that's not half bad, actually, honestly. All right, next big quandary. Okay. So as it is, with all the cliffs, so all these cliffs and such, I only got so much space to expand. And with all the biters, I definitely also only have so much space to expand. So I'm probably going to have to do something that I tend to try to avoid, which is I got to make this base, try to make this base as compact as possible. Which is going to be a little bit difficult, considering, well, everything. Tell you what, while I'm mulling that over, I'm gonna get myself a steel stack, because I'm definitely gonna be needing steel. Steel is one of those annoying products where it's important in a lot of production lines, but like it's such a pain in the butt to make. Because right now, I had a design that was actually able to make it in a single line, making a single smelting stack, make make steel plates, but it wasn't like 100% like amazing. So like it had its issues. Is what I mean. So. But that design kind of required electric smelting, and also I think it had some mods attached to it too. Yeah, it did, because I was using the mod that gave an extra squares length of reach for the inserters, which is one of the reasons why I didn't use longhand inserters with it, because Bob's inserters made longhand inserters irrelevant. Because pretty much every inserter was a long-handed inserter. Or it wasn't, depending on what you needed. Anyway, long story short, I need to build I need 2 smelting stacks just for the iron. Just to make steel plates. That's how much of a hassle it is. Before I forget. There you go. I'm going to need plenty of inserters. Got to do something with these power lines. Why'd you have to make chopping down trees such a hassle? I know the Factorio engineer is not Superman, but like, come on. With the amount of things with the amount of objects he's carrying in his pack at all times, he might as well be. Okay, let's get that. Okay, got that going. All right, Raiders back up. Had to shut that down for a brief moment. Pollution cloud. Nope. Pollution cloud is still within our border. Not too bad. All right, let's get this thing let's put this thing together. Like I said earlier, because I'm not really used to the whole talking to a mic with no one to just respond to, it's a bit unfamiliar, and I guess it takes a lot more energy than I generally anticipate. All that to say that I'm quite winding down somewhat. I think that's just I don't know. My body responds in weird ways to things, so I'm gonna build this steel stack here, and then I'll figure out a game plan for next time. But I do believe I've gotten a better grasp of this whole live stream thing. The mechanics of it are easy enough to understand. But it goes back to what I was saying earlier. This whole thing is a major learning experience, and I think I've learned quite a bit. So get this put together. Okay, that's that. I need inserters. I'm gonna go grab inserters because I need inserters. I don't know that I fidgeted nearly as much, or if I have still, or I'm just fidgeting, still fidgeting a ton. I don't know how much of it is noticeable on the mic. It's hard to tell from my end right here. But I hopefully the fidgeting is the little fidgeting isn't too distracting. I did try to get myself into a position that was comfortable enough to live stream from earlier. I'm definitely gonna start looking more into it because I do want to have longer live streams, not just like hour-long live streams, hour and a half, and everything like that. I know there are people out there that can live stream for like a really long time, and it's probably because it's something that they're used to. Plus, they're probably better. I guess have a better idea about keeping themselves engaged. It probably does help if I actually have, people to engage with rather than just an empty stream. Like I said, I'm still new to the whole thing, so I guess there's always a chance that things might change somewhat if I actually start getting more engagement. But I guess that'll depend. That's a big if. We're 2 live streams in. Might as well start letting people know about it. Friends and family, I mean. Gotta start getting support somehow. Okay, we are almost set up. Just get these inserted down. Long-term plan, a lot of this is probably not going to be like super duper permanent, but it will be. It will play a major part in the latter part of the run. I could potentially what I would want to do with this base, as far as this base is concerned, is get everything up and running in a way that's fun, in a manner that's functional enough to where I can utilize it for almost pretty much all the way up to space, and then hopefully I'll make sure I get myself an infrastructure, a decent enough infrastructure, so that when I do eventually go to space, I can just leave that. I can comfortably leave this place, leave the planet, without much issue. And then it'll just be, and then I would like a robust enough infrastructure so that can run itself, and then I can run to the other planets, get all the stuff like the sciences and all the resources set up from those planets, and then once I've got all the resources I need, I can put together the I think as some would call the real base. But the question is, how realistic is that? Because given how things are set up and how my know-how in terms of like getting a base setups, I am probably gonna have to redo this base at least once before I can actually go to my intended base design, which is fine. That's one of the things you just gotta deal with. Although the concept of having to redo one's base is a daunting enough task to where I do find myself getting slightly paralyzed by the notion, and that does cost me enough enthusiasm to where I find myself not really wanting to complete the task. I just kind of like twiddle my thumbs off in a corner somewhere. Or be willing we can avoid anything like that. Got ourselves red belts, which should come in handy. Alright, got that. Should I plug in the coal and then we have a steel stack? How quiet? How long was that bit of silence there? I felt like a lot. That felt long. I get like that, you know, when I'm not actively engaging with somebody and everything. I just kind of sit there, stuck, lost in my own thoughts. Alright, give that a bit of time, and then there we have steel. A thing which has many, many uses, and that is about to get hit with pollution cloud. So you know what? Before I call it quits, I'm gonna go trash it. And there go the boilers. Oh my goodness, we have just about maxed out power. That's actually not half bad. I'll just put away. Alright. Just grab my ammo and let's go to town. We're still fine as far as spider nests are concerned. There's just that one that's about to be hit by a pollution cloud. I know I've had my ammo plugging away, so hopefully I got a decent amount from it. Yeah, that's quite decent. I think I'm gonna I might employ gun turrets this time because those things shoot faster. Because those things receive a damage bonus. So I'll be able to take out the nests faster rather than just sit there peppering it with a machine gun for what might feel like an eternity to some. Although I got an issue here. I'm definitely gonna have to employ gun turrets because I don't have fish on me. I need to grab fish. Better backtrack, give me some fish. I got the thing. Right, so put the train and the car on the queue. I am not a particularly talented or intelligent train designer, but I do try to make use of the trains as often as I can, and I do want to push for trains because one of the main base ideas I'm probably going to employ does rely on trains. And also, just I do want to master a lot of the major components of this game. I don't know how I would approach figuring out how the combinator system works. I know that I could watch tutorial videos on it, and those would be very useful, and I probably definitely should, but I don't know. I've been able to succeed pretty well in this game without resorting to any sort of combinator. So it's not that I don't want to use them, it's just I'm not 100% convinced I'm 100% need to use combinators to succeed in this game. And if that's the case, this is more of a habit than just a determination. I'm probably just going to avoid using combinators too much. Having said that, I do, at the very least, it would be beneficial, I think, to be able to figure out how to broaden my knowledge of it. And man, iron production slowed down considerably. Why is that? Probably because most of it is going towards steel. So why is? I mean, as long as it's still moving, even if it is slowly moving. Alright, let's go knock out these buggies. Buggers. That's a lot of worms. Eesh. Why'd have to be so many worms? Alright. Yep, turret creep definitely makes getting rid of nests much easier. At the very least, much quicker, I should say. Alright, guys, a little damage. Alright. None to worry. That's it. That's that for that nest there. Well, I'm gonna have to go after this one. Alright. Wouldn't necessarily call it scorched earth. I'm definitely gonna have to go on a bit of an extermination spree here. But I'm thinking I might just park it here because I am winding down. Don't want to take a nap, but I am feeling tired. I'm feeling pretty tired. So we'll see. This makes a good enough stopping point here. Anywho, no one came in. Didn't really get any viewers on this live. So if anybody comes to watch this after the fact, thanks for watching. This has been Matt with the Casual Green Gamer playing Factorio, and I'll see about figuring out an actual schedule potentially for future live streams. I definitely want to do this a lot more often. I don't know about a lot more, but I definitely want to do it more often than I'm doing it currently, especially since I'm getting more used to it and dipping my toes in. Might as well start getting further into it. But one way or another, it should be a very valuable experience for me nonetheless. In any case, I hope anyone whoever watches this enjoys. And thank you very much. Bye-bye now.